This video is brought to you by Granger Uncut, my brand new Patreon page that takes you behind the scenes on different photo shoots, including boudoir shoots with models, but also my different travel, packing, street photography, and just fun little outtakes that don't make it to YouTube. Check it out, full details are below. Hi and welcome folks, thanks for joining us, Felicia.
Hi.
Today I wanted to run through a topic that, to be honest, if you've been watching the channel a while, I've probably covered before, but for new people to photography or just as a refresher, it should still be helpful. As a portrait photographer, your depth of field really matters. By depth of field, we mean how much of the frame is properly in sharp focus. Not like you can make out what's in the distance, but what's really in the zone of focus. There's actually a calculation you can do that will figure out, if you're using all of these parameters, how much of the shot is going to be in sharp focus or your depth of field. Now, a lot of us know that your focal length has an impact on that. For example, if we shoot with a 24mm lens and keep all the other settings the same, and then keep the distance to the subject the same, and then switch to, say, a 105mm lens or vice versa, we're going to get really different depth of fields. Let me show you that first. Okay, so to demonstrate this, I'm going to record through the Atomos as we go. I'll get the same shot. I won't change anything, her position, my position, the camera settings, just the focal length. So we're at f2, and here's our frame. Okay, then put my 24mm lens on. Things are going to get, obviously, 4 times wider, a little bit more. Okay, so you now see Aaron and everything in the shot still at f2. Okay folks, for this first part, this is going to be super clear for you. This is the shot that we took at 105mm f2. You can see we have a very, very shallow depth of field. We're getting the eyes, the nose, basically the whole front of the face, but then definitely by the temples, it's starting to fall away. Our depth of field is going to be really, really small here. Our next shot, we didn't change anything. We just changed the lens to 24mm. Didn't change our distance, didn't change her, didn't change the aperture. And this is the shot. Now, obviously, it's 4 times wider because the focal length is 4 times wider. But taking a look in nice and close at her, we do see a much bigger depth of field. So we're seeing all of her shirt. Looking at the ground, a much bigger area of it is in sharp focus. To be honest, Aaron in the background is probably as sharp, despite being several feet behind her, is sharper than her ears were on that 105 shot. And the reason for that is the depth of field calculation. It takes into account all of those different factors. So we were shooting on a full frame camera here at 105mm, f2 at around 2.5 meters distance, and then that calculates for us that we would have approximately 7 centimeters depth of field, with closest of 2.47 and a furthest of 2.53. Now, if we change nothing in that scenario, except say that we were shooting on a 24mm lens, you can see we suddenly have a gigantic depth of field of 1.4 meters. Crazy difference there. Now, there's something that you really need to keep in mind for all of this. You'll note on this guy that we have a depth of field in front and a depth of field behind. So our focus point was from that sensor mark on top of the camera to her eye. So that's our focus distance. So we had about 37% of the focus in front of the eye, and in this case 63% behind. Now that's really typical. For most situations you're going to have 1/3 in front, 2/3 behind. So keep that in mind. If you're focused on the eye with a tiny depth of field, that 1/3 may catch your nose. But if you have a bigger depth of field, you have a big area in front of your subject that's sharp that may be empty. But the closer you get to being close to macro, and in this case even being at 105 at this setting is pushing us that way, that breakdown of being 1/3 in front and 2/3 behind, it shifts and gets closer to being 50-50. And you can see here we're already almost at that, at 49% in front and 51% behind.
Okay, so clearly depth of field does vary depending on your focal length. The issue I wanted to address today is that a lot of people get hung up on the idea that therefore a wide angle lens can't create a shallow depth of field, or that always a wider focal length is going to have a bigger depth of field. And that's not exactly true, especially as portrait photographers. You have to think about the overall frame, right? You're not going to change from an 85 to a 24 and stand in the same place and have your model in the same place. It's no longer the same photo. So what you need to do is equalize the frame. So in this video, I want to give you a little demonstration shooting with the 24mm, the 50, the 85, and the 105, where we'll keep the same frame on Felicia, the same camera settings, and then as I go to longer focal lengths, we move further back and see what happens with our depth of field. So let's work that through. Look, now it goes without saying there's more to taking a good portrait than depth of field. That's not what we're talking about here. We're just isolating this one thing. So shooting at 24mm up close, we're gonna have distortion and all kinds of funky stuff going on, but that's what we need to do to make this demo. So I'm gonna come in really close, uncomfortably close, and I'm gonna frame it up so that we're just getting the top of her hair and then the the top of her shirt. I'm gonna shoot all of these at f1.8. And can you just turn your chin slightly that way? Yeah, I want to be able to see an ear in the shot slightly more. Yeah, so we can have something easy to, judge the frame off. Okay, now this is pretty straightforward, but we're going from a 24mm lens now to a 50mm lens. The 50mm lens is slightly more than twice as long, which means the distance from my camera sensor plane, which is indicated on your camera by this little symbol. Whenever you're measuring your distance to the subject, it's not from your lens mount, it's not from the front of your lens, it's measured from the actual film plane or your sensor plane, which is this little symbol. Check your camera, it will have one. So we need to just more than double the distance from her eye to this symbol, going from a 24 to 50. Thank you.
Okay folks, so I will get into a little bit of theory one more time at the end, but for now let's let the images talk. I'm going to show you them in kind of reverse order, long to short. So here the 105mm on each of these shots, I'm trying hard to keep it just catching the scoop of her shirt and just catching the top of her head. The background's going to change, but the amount of her in the frame is staying the same. So at 105 at f1.8, you can see we have a tiny depth of field. We're getting eye and maybe a little bit of nose, but the rest is kind of falling away, as you would expect on a tight shot on a 105mm lens. At 85mm, you see there's an obvious change in the background, but our frame on her is staying pretty close to the same. So I moved that much closer with the 85mm lens. But our depth of field to the eye here on screen is looking really similar. Then going to 50mm, again, our background change again. So there's 105, 85, now 50. But again, pretty much the same depth of field, the front plane of her face, but not anything else. And then here at 24mm, again, very, very different background, but again, a crazy small depth of field. So it's not as simple as a longer focal length is going to give you a shallower depth of field. It all comes down to your reproduction ratio. For example, if you're using a 105mm lens but you're shooting a macro, you have the tiniest depth of field. So as much as your focal length matters, so does your distance from your subject. Taking a look again at our calculator, now just to make it really simple for the numbers for us, let's say that we're shooting at the 100mm lens at 10 meters, okay? At f2, well, we're at 1.8, so let's do that. And you'll see our depth of field is 1.06 meters. And if we go to 50mm, so halving the focal length, but then we halve our distance as well, we get almost exactly the same, 1.07. If we go to 24mm, and go to 2.4 meters away, 1.11. Almost exactly the same in the scale of things here, you know, 1 meter 11, 1 meter 7. It's not going to make a noticeable difference on your subject. And our other one there was 85, so then we need 8.5. And again, we're in the 106 kind of category. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking to get a really shallow depth of field and separate your subject out from the background, you can do that with a wide angle lens. You're just gonna need to get in really close.
So I hope that makes sense for you guys. You have to think about your overall frame. The shot is going to change because of your actual focal length. A wider lens is going to show you more of the background. A longer lens is going to show you a narrower field of view. But the actual depth of field will remain pretty constant until you get up to macro type shots. Where can people see more of your work?
In OnlyFans. Actually, I think if the photographer can tell the models how the lens shows, how the picture shows, then model will know what position I should do.
As in how much of the frame or?
How much? Because if you just tell me this lens, this lens, this lens, and I don't know what will show, then I don't know how to pose it.
Okay. So what do you find is easy? Like, not every model is a photographer. So maybe telling you I'm shooting with the 35 makes sense to you. But for most models, then what are you suggesting? Showing the images after you take one?
Tell me head to shoulder or head to anywhere or full body. Just tell me.
Got it. Very good advice. And that's a really good point actually, because not all portraiture is about taking a headshot. Some of my favorite portraits from 2024 were shot using a 16 or 18 mil lens, either environmental portraits or shooting, you know, like literally a sumo wrestler up close, where using a super wide angle lens got me that big background. So really good point. It's not always going to be just head and shoulders and communicate with your model. So OnlyFans people can see your work, and
Instagram.
You have an Instagram that's not
Yes.
banned? Okay, good. We'll link whatever is currently available right now. Do you have like a link tree or something?
Yeah, I have link tree.
Okay, so we'll just give that because sometimes YouTube doesn't like OnlyFans, and of course you can see more of our work together on my Patreon as well. Let us know any questions you guys have. We'll see you soon. Thank you for your input. Very good.
Thank you.